We get started with Wednesday card. Ooh, I gotta apologize for my absence, guys. At the same time, I'm a little bit happy for that absence. Why? Because I looked over the card and I was watching some of these games, and man, were my predictions just completely off. So I saved you guys from some losing picks. So I'm I can't be too upset about it. But let's get into Wednesday card. A lot of heavy favorites. I don't really like this card, I'll be honest with you guys, because it's just the whole card smells like a big trap. And that's usually how these middle of the week games are. They're just big traps, big favorites, a lot of letdown spots basically. And right here, I think is going to be the first one. It's not a heavy thing. It's not a heavy thing that I would say bet the house on. But you have Cruz Azul at minus 470. They're undefeated, so I can see why. They're very well deserved. But Queretaro's also coming off of a win, and they're plus 950. Your draw is plus 500. Everything is going to tell you that this is a Cruz Azul win, and I can't disagree with that. But you have to put a big amount just on minus 470 to get any type of return, and guys, that's just not worth it. So very, very small dollar amount on Queretaro money line. Cruz Azul is undefeated. I don't think they're going to go undefeated the whole season. And it actually wouldn't surprise me too much if Querétaro comes in and just kills their fire. So that O has to lose. That O has to be gone sometime. That they're not going to stay at 0 losses the whole season. I don't think so. They're going to lose one of these games. There's only about maybe 7 or 8 games left. That bubble's about to burst at some point. So give me Querétaro money line on a weird Wednesday. It kind of works out. Weird Wednesday, Cruz Azul loses their win streak. Hey, it can happen. So small dollar amount on Querétaro money line for that plus 950. This is a straight gamble. I wouldn't even consider this a good, analysis. Game of the night, Tigres, Atlas. Tigres have not been playing as well as this price tag is on them. They should not be minus 290 favorites with the way that they've been playing. But again, that's just how this game is. Atlas plus 625. Worth taking a shot on, maybe, but I don't like the way they're playing either. They barely managed to get a draw against Mazatlan. Sure, Tigres is playing like crap too, but they managed to get a draw against Pumas. So Pumas definitely a tougher team than Mazatlan. I think Tigres does win this one. I think they win it comfortably, but just so I can get a better price. And obviously, I cut my chances. Probably right around a little bit over half, but I'll take them in the first half. I think they can be easily winning by the end of 45 minutes. Atlas is really susceptible to goals. Tigres at times can be too, but Atlas has more problems defensively than Tigres does. I don't know. I don't see why we can't hit an over 3. I think Tigres can win very, very convincingly. They haven't really have had many wins convincingly throughout the whole season. So, but I don't want minus 168 for the 2.5. I think I'd rather go straight for the 3. Get the over 3 at the very least. Get a push 2-1 Tigres by the by the time that this match is done. But I'll take them in the first half. I think they can be leading. I think that's pretty easy. Mazatlan was leading pretty much by the first half during Atlas's last game, and Atlas managed to tie it at the last minute. So as long as they're winning by the first half, the second half is not of too much importance to me. So that's the only way I can go with this game. This is the game that I think is going to be the sharp chaser, the parlay buster, whatever way you want to call it. Toluca at home, playing very, very well. Monterrey managed to get a draw against America. Monterrey didn't look too good in that second half. They had everything to win that game, and they managed to let the win slip, and it ended up being a draw in that game. Meanwhile, Toluca played absolutely excellent against a Chivas team that was playing very, very good themselves, but Toluca found the back of the net. Chivas didn't. So at the end of the day, you can play as well. You can play good. You can touch the ball, do the 2-0, whatever. Do everything under the sun. But as long as there's nothing on the scoreboard, it really just doesn't matter, and that's the sad part about it. So, but Toluca played well, scored goals. Now they're back at home, and they played well, scored goals, and that was on the road. Now they're back home, where I think they play even better. So I get it. I can see why you want to go with the Toluca money line, but again, guys, I just don't think every single favorite is going to win on this card. I would not be surprised if this is the parlay buster. Toluca doesn't lose, Monterrey doesn't lose. I'm gonna have to go with the draw, with just a draw, just a straight draw money line. Nothing else as far as a total. But I think it's gonna be a straight, probably 1-1 draw. This game, I think, is gonna be the type where it probably puts you to sleep. But at the same time, I wouldn't be surprised if it is a barn burner. But I'm probably not gonna be watching this. Hopefully it just hits a draw. I take my money and move on to the next game. Reaching into the later night games, San Luis America. Well, San Luis is coming off a very strong win against Santos. America is coming off of a draw against Monterrey. But what I do like is that, well, they kind of played catch up. Because the week before that, they had lost to Chivas. And it was a very, very embarrassing embarrassing loss. My bad. It was an embarrassing loss for America, but Chivas was the better team on that day, guys. Again, there was just nothing lucky about that win. Chivas played well. They finally got the goals that they've been wanting. And America, but they played catch-up basically against Monterrey. They were down 2-0, probably should have been 3 after those first 45 minutes. And in the end, they managed to salvage a point. So I think this is one of the heavier favorites that do win. You guys already know I don't like big favorites, but I do think America can pull it off, even at -170. I will drink the juice. I'll take the slightly expensive price this time around with America at -170. And the over 2.5, I think it's easily alive. Both of these teams been in some high-scoring matches their last two to three matches. So, with goals being susceptible on both sides, I think our over 2.5 is more than alive. At the very least, I think, again, I think at the end of it, America 2-1. So this is one of the more games where I'm kind of okay with the big favorite winning. I think it's warranted. America loses to Chivas, then they go and they save a draw against Monterrey. I don't think it's crazy to think that America wins against San Luis. San Luis is kind of all over the place. I have some random wins here and there, but for the most part, it's been more of a losing season. So can't look any other way besides America straight up on the money line. Match of the night. I might watch it. It has the makings to be a barn burner, if I'm being honest. Tijuana made me look completely stupid on Friday. I thought Leon had some type of chance to make that game more competitive, and that just didn't happen. So Tijuana ended up just completely destroying 5-0. Santos on the other side got completely destroyed themselves. So, a little bit of a tough one, but let's get through this. First thing first, the 2.5 is juiced to -183. Both teams to score are juiced to -210. Santos, at the very least, has not been getting shut out much this whole season. I think they've probably been shut out maybe once out of 9 or 10 games. That's why I think you see the both teams to score juiced so high at -210. I think it's not crazy to think that both of these teams can score. I know Tijuana just shut out a very, well, I guess we can't call them competitive anymore, Leon. So they got a 5-0 shutout win. Santos did lose 4-1, but hey, they didn't get shut out. So there's, I guess, some type of positive. But I think our over 3 goals is very much alive. I think both teams can get scored on quite easily. Yeah, Tijuana got a shutout win, but I don't think they're gonna get a shutout win against Santos. That's for sure. So over 3, I think the value is Santos draw on the double chance, even though Santos has not had a single game go to a draw pretty much almost the whole season. They've either straight up won or straight up lost. But I think I lean more towards the draw than I do the Santos draw double chance. But if I'm getting a good price on 2 out of 3 results, I'll take it. It wouldn't be too crazy to me either if this is a letdown spot for Tijuana. Again, guys, they just won 5-0. The chances of them going to another weak teams or playing another weak team, and for them to repeat the same thing, even if it's a 3-0 shutout, for them to repeat another badly scoring shutout, I don't think they do it twice in a row. I wouldn't be surprised if this game ends up being a draw, or if Santos even causes the upset. So for this one, for sure, I do want to be on the double chance of 2 out of 3, be on 2 out of 3 results of the game. Like I said, guys, I just don't think that every single favorite on this card is going to win. I think out of these 5 games, I think we're going to see maybe 2 favorites win. And I do think it's going to be America and maybe Tigres. I don't think America and maybe Cruz Azul, actually. Tigres, I think, has the ability to choke it too. But I don't think Tijuana wins. I think this is a foolish price. I think this is a trap completely. Especially because of that Tijuana 5-0 complete blown out the water Leon. So I think this is a slight trap. You're getting probably the same price against Leon, and now to get the same price against Santos, I don't know. Feels like a trap to me, but if you take Tijuana, I'm definitely not going to be mad at you. I think it's worth whatever you guys think it's worth betting on, especially for this game. I think this game is actually more than likely the trickiest one out of the whole card on Wednesday.